writing an equation of a line when we see the line in a graph. Now, there's more than one way to do this, but I've noticed that some students have been struggling with counting the slope off of a graph. So I'm going to do this way. I'm going to choose two good points on this graph. And when I say good points, it's where the line that's graphed directly passes through the intersection of these grid lines. So I can then go and write my two ordered pairs. This 4 is on the y-axis, so that's the y. Remember, inside the ordered pair, x comes before y. And it hasn't moved left or right from my origin at all, so my x is 0. Whereas this point, my x is 2 and my y is 1. So I have these two ordered pairs. Eventually, to write my equation of my line, I want it to be in y equals mx plus b form. You should know by now that m is for mountains, and mountains have slopes, so m is the slope, and the b, which the variable doesn't make sense in that way, is the y-intercept, or where the line crosses the y-axis. So the first thing I need to do is to calculate the slope. I know that slope is rise over run. I know that my y's rise. So my 4 and my 1, my two y values, go in the numerator. And my x's, my 0 and my -2, go in the my 0 and my 2 go in the denominator. I want to find the change of value, so I'm always going to put subtraction between these. And then I end up with 4 minus 1 is 3, 0 minus 2 is -2. I double check that. Positive over a negative can't be reduced, and it's also negative in this case, so my equation ends up starting out y equals -3/2, because that's the slope of my line, x. Now, the thing that goes here is the y-intercept, which is where the line crosses the y-axis. I could go and calculate it the way we do in Learning Target 2C4 in a little bit, but in this case I can also just look at the graph and I see that it crosses the y-axis at +4, so y equals -3/2x plus 4. So this point is the point 0, -4. I can also tell, hey, my y-intercept is at -4. This line crosses the y-axis at -4. Here's another good point. It's where x is 1 and y is also 1. So slope is rise over run, which is, remember, y's are the second ones. Y, 1, minus my -4y, and x minus x. So 1 minus -4 is 5, 1 minus 0 is 1. My equation starts out with y equals 5x. Don't leave it as 5 over 1. 5 over 1 is just 5. And it crosses the y-axis at -4. So y equals 5x minus 4. Here, it actually goes through the point 0, 0. And, looking for another good point, way out here on the edge of the graph, the x is 5 and the y is 3. So slope is y minus y over x minus x. And I end up with a slope of +3 over +5, which can't be reduced. So y equals 3/5 x. Now, I'm not going to write the +0 out at the end because b is 0, because 3/5 x plus 0 is just 3/5 x. I can see that this one crosses the y-axis at +10, so I already know that's going to be a +10 at the end of this. I just have to figure out what my slope is to see the coefficient of the x. Well, this is the point where x is 0 and y is 10. Remember, the 10 is on the y-axis, so 0, 10. And here's another good point. It's where x is 8 and y is 30. So slope is y minus y over x minus x. 30 minus 10 is 20. 8 minus 0 is 8. I can reduce 20 over 8 because 4 goes into 25 times and 4 goes into 8 twice. So y equals 5/2 x plus 10. So calculate the slope. That's going to be your coefficient of your x, and slope is rise over run. And then look to see where the line crosses the y-axis, because that's b. That's your y-intercept. Don't forget to write your equation when you're done. I usually, as soon as I know any part of the equation, I go start my final answer.